I just realized because of this video how much we need to talk about the secondary trauma that comes with abuse. Thank you so much for this comment. I've been getting comments like this on the video that's attached to and on my YouTube. And I didn't realize what a relief it is for some women who are friends with women who've been in abusive relationships, how much they need that space to talk about this. Because the thing that happens is that because someone who is dating someone super violent and dangerous, obviously they are in the front line of danger, right? But their friends are in the battle too. And sometimes they are collateral, what is it? What's the word? Oh my God, wait, look. Oh, hi. Okay, with another dog. My dog's like, who are you talking to? This is the only king baby I let in my life. Such a good boy. Anyway, the point is, the family members, the loved ones, right? That's friends, family, maybe coworkers. There's so many people that are going to be at risk when a woman is in an abusive relationship with a very dangerous man. And we see it happen all the time. A lot of times when there's like a mass shooting, a lot of times it was a man going somewhere just to get her and just takes out a bunch of people too. Like random people. This happens. I mean, so many of these like mass shootings is literally a woman being targeted and her jealous ex just taking everyone who loves her out with her. Okay. So that's like the worst case scenario for so many people who had to watch someone they love slowly die in front of them. Because again, you don't have to die to be dying. You know, any of y'all for those people who follow me, it's probably because I have a lot of energy and maybe it's the spirit about me or whatever. I'm like a pretty joyful person. I'm excited about a lot of things. But when I was dating that man, he was a vampire. I remember I was so tired from being with him and managing the baby. I always had to pacify him all the time with, wangs or schmargs or like whatever. And walking on eggshells. My nervous system was blown. It was so tiring being so scared and like on edge all the time because of his moods, which is one reason why I criticize men controlling women with their moods. Even if they're not abusive, if they're always in a bad mood, it's probably to control you. Sorry, it is. But I was so exhausted. I remember someone driving past me, and this is in a small town in New Mexico, right? Because you're always like, hi, when you pass by someone. They didn't recognize me. They even said something like, I have never seen you look so, like, dead, right? The light inside of me was going out. One of the things I used to love to do, I should get back into it, actually, is I'd wake up in the morning and I'd dance to techno. I love techno because I'm just like, I just love like dusting my hips and whatever. It just makes me so happy. It gives me so much joy. And I remember when I did not have the energy to dance to techno in the morning because I had nothing. I just remember being so depressed because I couldn't even dance. I was too tired. So for someone who loves you to watch that light go out, it's hard because they lose their friend and you're so exhausted from managing the baby. You don't have time for your friends. You can't show up for your friend. You are checked out. It is much like watching someone with an addiction, right? As someone who has had an addiction and who has dealt with addictions in other people my whole life. Y'all, the people who love addicts, they go through the ringer too. But because they are getting secondary trauma and secondary harm, they feel like they're not allowed to talk about it. This is why I really appreciate that comment because I've been seeing it a lot. They don't want to center themselves. They don't want to make it sound like they're minimizing the harm or the abuse of that person who was the victim. But those people who love the victims of abuse need community. They need support. And that's why I'm glad I'm talking about it. So if I can create that space for y'all, great, because you're allowed to talk about it. You should talk about it. I'm telling you, I think until I got married, my sister, I didn't think she would. I think she worried more than she already had. She worried about me my whole life. But after that abusive relationship, she had to distance herself for a while because she could not live with the level of fear of worrying, is Melanie going to die? When is Melanie going to die? And when she met my husband for the first time in person, she gave him this huge hug and she just loves him. She loves everything about him, his energy. He's such a kind person and he adores me and she could tell. And she was She was almost in tears, and she told me later on that that's the first time in her life that she wasn't a mess after saying goodbye to me, because every time she said goodbye to me, she was afraid she would never see me again. And knowing that I was married to Anthony and that he was looking out for me and taking good care of me, especially as I'm like dealing with all this PTSD, she could finally relax. And she finally had the space and the time and the energy to do her own healing. Because when you have someone that you're worried about all the time, you tend to put your own needs on the back burner. And that's not healthy. So on some level, me healing freed my sister to heal. And I wonder, God, if I hadn't done all this work, I didn't realize how much she worried about me until I saw how much lighter she was when she didn't have to anymore. And she's my big sister. She's always going to worry about me, but not like that. And one of my friends recently was in an emotionally abusive relationship. And so now, since I've been in one, and I've also, been friends with people in one, I now know how to handle it. There are certain things I cannot tell the victim. I can't process what I'm going through with her. So me and her other friends, we helped each other get through it. We supported each other because we needed that. We needed that community. We needed healing to be able to talk about it. You can't talk about it with the victim. And if you think about it in terms of addiction, there's a reason why they have, AA or DA or whatever, any of those addiction, or, there's tons of addiction programs, right? And then they have a separate group for the people who love them. So I'm glad I brought this up, because I think a lot of people are suffering silent because they feel bad, because they're comparing the secondary trauma they experienced to the person who had the most trauma, who was almost died usually. But it doesn't minimize what you went through. So talk about it. Go to therapy with it, or, find community to process it with, because it is big. It's big. And you're not victim shaming or victim blaming by acknowledging that it is hard to love someone in an abusive relationship. It's real hard. And some people for self-preservation, have to take space or tap out entirely because they don't want to die from the secondary. I sound dramatic, but when you worry about someone all the time, lose sleep over them, your nervous system, being codependently tied to someone in danger, that has a big impact on your nervous system, which can cause chronic illness. So please take care of yourself, everybody who this applies to. And thank you again for that comment. I really appreciate it.